Mmm, juicy. Hello, you're back already. But that means it's October again. Damn, time flies. Okay, come in and sit down. Whew, let's go. Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am KH and this is 2024's first Shakakapow Halloween video. Yeah. Okay, and as usual in our first video we're going to talk about a comic book. So today we are going to take a look at Night of the Ghoul. Dun dun dun. Yeah. So this is a comic book by Scott Snyder. Oh, yes. And if you guys have been following the channel, you guys know that I'm a Scott Snyder fan. We've done a couple of Scott Snyder comic books here on the channel. Among them, The Wake. I love this one. This is a great comic book. I mean, actually, Scott Snyder is a little bit of a hit and miss for me, because there's also stuff like this one here. We have Demons, which kind of fell flat for me. I know a lot of people really like this one. I thought it was mediocre at best. I didn't like it very much. It had some cool ideas and cool concepts, but it really didn't do it for me. But then there's this one here, Severed, also by Scott Snyder, and I think this is probably my all-time favorite horror comic book. So if you haven't read this, give it a go, check it out. If you want to know more about it, you can find a review here on the channel. Okay, enough said about Scott Snyder. Now, I just want to, so where does that put this one? And I'm just gonna say straight away, I think this is now my second favorite horror comic book of all time, only surpassed by Severed here. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is that I just want to kind of quickly throw it out there and recommend this without spoiling it. So before I stumble into spoilers by accident and kind of give away stuff, I just want to say that if you're a fan of Scott Snyder or you want some good creepy horror to read during Halloween, just go buy this one immediately. This is a great horror story. Takes its time with the build-up, with the world building, with the monster, with the characters. I mean, it's almost 200 pages, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. Yeah, okay. Totally something I would recommend. So now I'm going to start, and I'm probably going to go into spoilers at some time. Night of the Ghoul. Let's get the usual stuff out of the way. This is a comic book written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by Francesco Francavilla. Yeah, that must be right, because it can't be Francesco Francavilla, right? That sounds stupid. Okay. Night of the Ghoul came out in 2023, and it's published by Dark Horse Comics. And what is this comic book about, I hear you say? Well, it's about the ghoul. It's about a monster. And it's really cool. the way they build the whole mythology around this monster, the Ghoul, and actually the whole comic book. It it gave me some Lovecraftian vibes, but also it kind of reminded me of The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, because the monster here, it has these spider-like legs, and it hides in humans and uses humans as hosts. So that kind of also reminded me of The Thing, because you don't know who the Ghoul is, but people with the Ghoul inside them will act differently and weird. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try to just talk about the story without giving away too much. The story starts with a father and a son driving into the desert somewhere in California. So they drive to this mental asylum, and the father he works with movies, he restores and digitalizes old films, and it turns out the father, his name was Forrest Inman. He has stumbled over this old tape from 1936, and it's the film he has found is it's not all the footage, it's part of the footage of a film called Night of the Ghoul. And in his opinion, this movie is really good, and to him, it's like the best horror movie of all time. It should have been like up there with Dracula and Frankenstein. But for some reason, the Night of the Ghoul was never released. Most of the movie was shot, but then a couple of weeks before the release, the whole movie studio burns down mysteriously, and all the cast and crew, they all die. Yes. So Forrest Inman goes to the mental asylum, and he has lied his way into getting an appointment with the patient named T.F. Merritt. And T.F. Merritt is the director of the old movie Night of the Ghoul. So Forrest comes in there, and he's just like straight away, "Hey dude, I know your real name. I know that you're not really blah blah blah. You are T.F. Merritt, the famous director of Night of the Ghoul. I just want to know everything, what happened. Is there any other footage left of the film?" And yeah, so that's how things start. And the story is told in present and past. I mean, it's not just past. I'll get to that. So Merritt says, "Okay, I'll tell you everything." And then he jumps back to the beginning, and that's where the movie starts. So we get this cool introduction here, where it looks like some sort of premiere to the movie, and then it's like the Night of the Ghoul, and then we start our story in the past, which is about this regiment of soldiers trying to find this old castle. This is around, the First World War. But when they come to this castle, it's abandoned. Also very cool. All the parts, when we're like getting the flashbacks from the movie, it's in black and white, and you can see like the film, the edges of the pages are like as if you're watching an old film. Really cool. And also, again, it's kind of burnt and half destroyed because he's only got some parts of the footage and not the whole thing. Anyway, so the soldiers come to this castle, and they discover that the castle is abandoned. And the Germans who were the German soldiers who were supposed to be there are gone or disappeared. But then they find a lot of dead bodies here at the castle. At first they think it's just like villagers and local people that the Germans killed. Then they find out that no, it's actually the villagers, but also the German soldiers are all among the bodies too. And the bodies have been eaten and chewed up. Even bones have been chewed up and eaten. So lots of half-eaten corpses. Yeah, this is a very creepy and cool comic book with lots of atmosphere. And it helps, like the colors, where we have all the flashback movie parts in black and white. It's really, it sets the mood. And then when it's in the present, they use a lot of warm colors and red, so you get that contrast, and it's really good, really nice. Yeah, so the story is, I mean, for the most part, we're listening to T.F. Merritt tell Forrest the whole story from the beginning to present. And then things start to happen both in the movie story and also in the present. There's lots of weird stuff going on. And I don't think I'm going to say more about the actual story, but I just want to mention a couple of interesting things that really that were really cool and that I liked. The dynamic between the father and the son, and why the son is there with his father at the mental asylum. There were some interesting things there. And on that, you have also somewhere in the movie, there's also a soldier who comes back home, and his family, they're like, his son is, he's feeling that something is off with his father. And then he discovers that his father is some sort of monster, and he tries to tell other people, but nobody believes him. And I mean, other people, when they see that his dad is different, it's just like, yeah, but it's been a lot of trauma, it's PTSD. So there were some cool things with that as well. Yeah. Good characters. The lore and the story around the Ghoul was amazing, and it's kind of interesting where they have tied some certain historical stuff, connected it with the history of the Ghoul, because the Ghoul apparently tries to build itself stronger, and then when it's strong enough, it kind of unleashes some sort of plague. And they kind of tie this and connect this to the Black Plague and like the end of different civilizations throughout the human history. So the world building was fantastic as well. The art is great. I love the illustrations. I actually don't have anything I would say that I didn't like or to criticize. It's just brilliant. If I was going to rate it, it would be like a 10 out of 10 horror comic book. And I love these like one-off stories that are not part of a huge series. Alright, I think that's it for today's episode. Night of the Ghoul. Check it out. Really good stuff from Scott Snyder. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. That's it for our first episode, but make sure you'll drop by again, because we're going to do board game reviews, we're going to do movie reviews. I have lots of crazy Halloween stuff planned. Hopefully I'll get the time to actually get all of the videos done. We'll see. Stop by again. See you in the next one. Alright. Shakakapow.